Fidelity thinks that Bitcoin will be worth $1 billion by 2038. In that case, each XRP coin would be worth $25,000. Is this a crazy person? Yes, that number is crazy. But let's look at the maths to see if this is even possible and what would have to happen for it to happen. Also, we'll look at some new information from the SEC and hear Paul Atkins talk about how important it is to have a super app, which makes me wonder what this has to do with blockchain systems. I also got a lot of other Ripple and XRP news. Let's get right into this digital treasure. Yesterday, Investor put this up. Fidelity thinks Bitcoin will be worth $1 billion by 2038. AI says that in that case, XRP will be worth $25,000. What does that mean? I'll show you. The expected price of 25,000 XRP per token, if Bitcoin hits 1 billion per token, depends a lot on market cap ratios and the amount of the crypto market that XRP makes up. But the math behind this situation is easy to understand and shows you what factors to keep an eye on. In other words, it tells you a little about where we are now. In September, 175 to 192 billion XRP is worth. Also, the market value is just under $4 trillion. But right now, XRP's market share, that is, the percentage of the total market cap of XRP that makes up the total market cap of all cryptocurrencies, is about 4.5 to 5%. This is slowly going up, and I think it will continue to do so with the launch of ETFs soon. Since Ripple recently got their banking license and more people realize that the stock market will soon be on blockchain and that settlement for that market will happen through the DTCC, which holds patents for XRP, XLM, and a few other tokens. These will start to be put together. We've been following this channel for years, so we know this for sure. We'll catch up to the rest of the world pretty quickly, but this is already true. It talks about the circulating quantity and some of the math behind a Bitcoin worth $1 billion. But I don't want to talk about that. You want to know how we got to these XRP prices. Price of XRP is based on market cap factors. If XRP keeps 5% of the total crypto market cap and grows to say 40 quadrillion XRP market cap 0.0, 40 quadrillion, 2 quadrillion is how many tokens a total of 100 billion would need to be in circulation. It would cost $20,000 each. I do think that XRP could have a bigger role in the market in the future, maybe even 10 to 15% of the whole crypto market. If XRP really is that one useful token that everyone will use to settle their debts when we get there. Here is some more information about a bigger percentage. That's clear to see on your screen. I do not need to read this to you. The amounts are 40,000, 60,000, etc. Realistic things to think about though. These numbers are based on the very unlikely scenarios of widespread crypto acceptance, institutional inflows, and a major shift in the economy as a whole. Okay, let's be honest about this, shall we? Supply dynamics are important because if some XRP supply is locked, burned, or not liquid, there will be less circulating supply accessible. As more DeFi layers are added to the XRP ledger, and the EVM sidechain reaches its full potential, thousands of coders will join the XRP ledger. This means that all of these projects will need more XRP, and as we find new ways to lock up the return on our XRP, the amount that is available will go down, which could have a big effect. I did say I wanted to find out more about this, right? That's the question everyone wants to know. How did XRP get to a market value of $2T? Just plain old paper money. There isn't enough money in the world to go into that. It would have to be live assets that are traded on the ledger. To take this idea even further, you could have a $2 trillion market cap for XRP if the XRP ledger became the settlement layer for an unimaginable number of tokenized global assets, including a large portion of financial assets, currencies, and value-bearing instruments around the world. Compared to predictions for tokenized assets, the world's money supply is about $112 trillion as of 2025. Even if you count all of the world's big economies, the total amount of fiat and digital currency in circulation is not even close to 2 quadrillion. Projections from the business world say that the tokenized real-world asset market could hit $18.9 trillion by 2033. But some bullish experts think it could reach $30 trillion by 2034, while others say it could go as high as $60 trillion. Everything will now rest on how quickly people around the world can agree on rules and who has power. Value, title, and rights to the thing being sold can be moved around the world at the speed of light. The G7, the G20, the UN, or whoever it is, needs to start talking and working together on this right here. There is some cooperation, but to speed things up, we're talking about all the money that will be made in tokenization in the crypto market over the next 10 years. you would need to start getting a lot of people to work together across all of these countries. XRP tokenization. As of the third quarter of 2025, there were about 131.6 million tokenized assets on the XRP ledger. This shows that institutions are interested, but it's still small compared to bigger chains, and far from the size needed for markets worth $4 quadrillion. What would cause the XRP market cap to reach $4 trillion? Stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities, currencies, and complicated derivatives must all be able to trade natively or fractionally tokenized on the XRP ledger in order for this level to be reached. Settlement layer dominance. The XRP ledger would have to become the global standard for moving value, settling assets, and keeping them safe. It wouldn't just be a bridge currency, it would have to play a part similar to how SWIFT or central bank infrastructure handles all settlements today. The speed and leverage of layered financial instruments, such as derivatives or leverage products, could theoretically increase the value of the represented value many times over what it is in cash or liquid assets. However, this still needs a strong infrastructure and legal support. Based on basic math and assumptions, the world's estimated $5 to $5.5 trillion worth of stocks, bonds, and derivatives are financial assets. However, most of this value is based on rehypothecation leverage and not on real money or liquid assets. You may only have 10 or 15 trillion here, but it's been borrowed 50, 100, or 200 times, right? It's been pushed too far. With the way it is used now, XRP can't directly represent 2 quadrillion. The XRP ledger would have to be passed on every tokenized transaction closure around the world. In other words, we want to make the dollar stronger, get rid of the petrodollar system, and stop World War III. That's from the point of view of digital assets. Paul Atkins is on the super app, which is the most important thing. One of my main goals as chairman is to let market players come up with new ideas with super apps. People often ask me what super app means. With just one license, securities dealers should be able to provide a wide range of goods and services from one location, without having to get more than 50 state licenses or multiple federal licenses. A broker-dealer with an alternative trading system should be able to offer trading in non-security crypto assets, along with crypto asset securities, traditional securities, and other services. I told the commission staff to come up with more advice and rule proposals so that this goal of a super app can become a reality. It is great to have an SEC head who cares about the crypto market. Gary Gensler. Oh my God. Hey Paul Atkins. Okay, love it, love it, love it. You picked the right person. The person is Paul Atkins. People also wonder how the US could get Ripple's technology, right? While they could buy it, getting government money, or public money, to pay for it would take a lot of work. But they could give the US some technology for free. This is the movie of that technology. I explain what a free seller is. Yes. Because I created it, I wasn't going to work for the government. I was making the shift. How do you find a free vendor? There is a gratis vendor that is allowed by the US government to sell goods to the government. It doesn't get sold. Because you're giving it to us, I don't have to go through the whole process of becoming a real seller. Then you can give it to Article 2, which is the president, and the president will accept it because it's good. I'm sorry, but what does this look like? Some software is what I do. Writing software is what you do. Good morning XYZ. I write software that helps the Commerce Department do its job better. Giving it to me is all it takes. I'll test it, and then take it. We will get help from the government if you sell it to me for $1. Okay. All of that nonsense. Okay. But if you give it to me, okay. Then I set it up and said, I'm going to